Oh, hey everyone. Hi, I'm Ronnie Walter. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. We have such a cute project today. I say we, I mean me. But it'll be we when you do it too. So there we go. Okay, so it is a super snowy day here in Wisconsin, and it's perfect for this time of year when I'm painting Christmas and sharing some lovely festive images with you guys. Here, I'm just going to turn the camera slightly so you can see. Yeah, there's snow out there, and it is coming down. So back to me for a moment. Okay, so this is the project we're going to do. It's 5x7, and it's a darling little Christmas house, and I hope you enjoy doing it. I'm giving you two versions, one with a cat in the window, and then I'm going to show you the alternate, which is the dog in the window. You can put any critter you want in that window. Put a raccoon if you like, but you're going to have to figure out how to draw that yourself. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this. It's step-by-step, follow along. And there, of course, as always, is a free tracing in the description down below. And, you know, one other thing. Do you want to boop the like button if you like this video? That's super helpful. And my extreme gratitude for you guys being here. It's such a joy, and I have so much fun doing these for you guys, and I'm glad that you're all here. I wish we were all in the same room having coffee or hot chocolate and drawing cute Christmas pictures. Okay, so let's go draw. Well, I am really excited about this design today. It's so cute and sweet. All right, so here's what I got going here. I did this drawing, and you will have a much nicer version of this to trace. It's free. It's in the description. Just pop over there, and you can get this free drawing, and you can transfer it to your watercolor paper. I also have an alternative. There's a cat in this window, but I know there's a lot of dog people here, so I also have a dog version. So if you want to do a dog, I've got that for you. Okay, so what I did is I used my light box, and these are really quite well priced. It's a great way to trace your designs onto another piece of paper. If you don't have one of these, put it on your Christmas list because you're really going to want this. And so I used my light box to trace this design onto my watercolor paper. The paper I'm using is a Canson Montval, and it's cold pressed watercolor paper. It's a great budget-friendly watercolor paper. It's just a step up from their, I just noticed that S is all wonky. It's a step up from the Canson XL, but I find it to be a really nice paper for what we're doing here. Okay, so this I trace it pretty roughly because I'm going to refine it as I do the line work. So I'm going to set this aside, and as we go, I'm going to show you the materials that we're using. But right now, I'm going to be doing the line work first on this. I find when I do something that's a little more complex and kind of ditzier detail, I will do the line work first. If it's a little looser or bigger spaces, I like to do the watercolor first. People often ask me that in my live classes. Do you start with the line work or do you start with the watercolor? And I go both ways. It just depends on the design and how I want it to turn out. So this is pretty rough, but once we erase everything, it's going to look really cool. Now, from this stage, you could, if you wanted to, because I'm a proponent of minimal erasing, because we don't want to disturb the texture of the paper. Sometimes if you're too aggressive in your erasing or using an eraser that is too crumbly, like one of the pink pearl ones, you can really compromise your watercolor paper. I do like to use a kneaded eraser. Again, put this on your Christmas list. These are great, and they're very inexpensive. But you can come in and sort of daub up some of your excess pencil. I was a little heavy on my pencil. And use a soft lead pencil when you're doing this. So you can see I'm kind of just making a lot of it disappear. If any of you are old enough to remember Silly Putty, we used to transfer things for magazines and newspapers onto the Silly Putty. Kind of the same idea, sort of. Okay, so I have this rough drawing on here, and I'm kind of taking away some of that pencil just by doing that. And then you kind of stretch that out and sort of cleans it. I don't know where the graphite goes into the surface. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to grab my glasses, and I'm just going to start doing the line work. Now, the pencil I used, it doesn't matter what pencil you use. Like I said, use a soft lead pencil. If it has an H in it, that stands for hard. And that's gonna, sometimes it'll dig into the paper and you're not gonna like that. So you wanna use a soft lead. And again, now I'm giving you some of my favorite supplies right now. These are not affiliates. I just like them. This is a great gift. These Blackwing matte pencils. Oh, they're so luscious. They're great for sketching. They're really cool looking if you care about how your pencil looks. And of course we do, because we love our art supplies. But these Blackwings are really great. They have a beautiful black lead on them. But what I like a lot is the eraser. You can move the eraser up. There's like, the eraser comes all the way down here. I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to break a nail on camera, because then I have to go lay down or something. Anyway, you can move this eraser out so you don't run out of eraser before you run out of pencil. It's a great thing. Okay, set the pencil aside, and we're going with the Micron Pigma Micron 01 with archival ink, and it's waterproof. Make sure if you're doing your line work first that you use waterproof markers, because you spend a lot of time doing this sweet line work, and then you put watercolor on top and it all smears. I know a little something about that. Okay, make sure it's waterproof. Okay, so I'm just going to start going in and drawing this. Now, like I said, it's pretty sketchy, so I'm going to refine it as I go. And so I'm just going to start drawing. I will eventually speed up the film, and you can just watch me draw. But I'm just going in, and I like to use, on some of these that are a more detailed illustration, I like to use this 01 because I can get just a really nice, sweet line. And I often go over things twice, partly because I like the look, and partly if I'm not trying to be a cartoonist where it's one solid line. I like that look of that the line brings something different to the table than the watercolor. They're each doing a different job. So I enjoy doing kind of a, not like a sketchy line, but I'll do kind of a double line. You'll find, the more you do this, you'll find that you'll find your own style of line work. This is kind of what I have developed over the years. It's a good place for me to be, let's put it that way. And when you intentionally do kind of a double line or a sketchier line, if you screw up, it looks like it was intentional, as opposed to if you're trying to do a solid line all the way around the whole thing and all of a sudden you get a wobble in your hand, or you have to go over something twice and you're like, oh great, it's wrecked. And then, and there's that spiral, and the next thing you know, you're curled up on the couch with a remote in your hand. We don't want that. Okay. Of course, there's always a place for curled up on the couch with a remote in your hand, but not when you really want to do a cute watercolor painting. So I have this little dove here. I'm mixing all the metaphors for Christmas in this drawing, but we're just going to go through and make this cute. My entire goal is to make things cute. That's it. It's a lovely thing to just want to make the world a cuter place. One of the things too, I'm always on the search. I try a lot of different watercolor papers because I do line work. I want to make sure that there's enough texture that it looks really watercolory, but not so much that I can't do my line work. So that's why I don't really use like a hard press paper. I still like cold press. I guess it's hot press. Yeah, it's not hard press, it's hot press. Sometimes I can't talk while I'm drawing. So I don't like hot press necessarily because I don't like the way the watercolor sits on that kind of paper, or like a Bristol board or something. So I still use cold press, but I want it to have a minimal texture. So I'm always on that search. And this does the job. I'm going to come into the house, and from this point, unless I have something really important to say about how I'm going to draw this, I'm going to speed up the film now. And you guys can listen to, I don't know, I'll probably put on a little Christmas tune so you can listen to that. Okay, I'll see you on the other side of this. Okay, well, I have done my line work. You've noticed that I haven't like stayed completely true to my original drawing. And we're going to add a couple of little baubles here on the inside tree. And sometimes you just kind of make decisions along the way. And so now I'm going to erase this. And again, I'm going to use a light hand. And these pens generally dry immediately, but it never hurts to wait a minute or two to make sure that whatever you have drawn, it depends on your marker too. These microns tend to dry pretty quickly, but boy, we hate a smear, don't we? Yes, we do. And that cat turned into kind of a chubby old thing, but hey, that's okay. They're cuddlier that way, right? Okay, so I'm going to take all of this pencil off. I know I'll find more when I start to paint, but we'll just deal with it then. And I forgot to tell you, this is 5x7. I started trying to do this on a smaller card, but there was way too many detail, and I abandoned that for a 5x7. So you could either, it's, 5x7, of course, is easy to frame, but also you could make cards out of them. It's still really cute, or you could scan it and make, after you paint it, scan it and print out the print and make cards out of them if that's what you would like to do. Okay, so I am going to come back with paints, and I have some new paints that I want to share with you. I will be right back. Let's go through the materials we're going to use to paint this sweet, sweet Christmas house. Okay, here's what I've got. Right now, I'm going to work with two brushes. They're both rounds. One is a number 8, and it's an Artist Loft, which is Michael's private label, Michael's Craft Stores. And then I have this number 4 round. I don't know where I got this or when I got it, but it's a Royal and Langnickel. And I usually don't use a small brush because generally, if you have a good basic round brush, an 8 or a 10, you can get into pretty small spaces. But there's a lot of tiny, tiny things on here. So I'm going to use this. I'm also going to show you, because part of this video, I want to share like some of the things you might want to ask for Christmas or get for yourself, because, hey, why not? I just bought, and I'm going to buy a smaller one of this. This is a number 10 Winsor Newton Cotman. And it was a little more expensive than what I usually pay for a brush, because you can get a really decent brush for anywhere from $10-ish to $15. You can get a good brush. I like these Princeton Velvet Touch ones. Mine has a funky tip on it if you've watched any of my other videos. And if you have, thank you. But I'm loving this number 10. It's a little big for what I'm doing right now, but these are great. These are great. Christmas list items for sure. Okay, I'm going to put that eraser away. I like to keep sort of a clean desktop while I'm painting as much as possible. The rest of the table might be in chaos, but at least this little area that I'm working in is clean and tidy. So, you just don't want to have a bunch of stuff around. Okay, now, these are my new paints. And these were sent to me by the company that makes them. They're Paul Rubens, and they are a beautiful paint set. The box itself is pretty awesome. But I don't care how great the box is. If the paints aren't good, so what? Okay, so now I'm going to be using these paints. I have not done my own swatch card with it, which I really like to do on the kind of paper that I like. But they sent that this comes in the container. It's, and so I did quick swatches on their paper, and it's kind of sparkly, which is odd, but whatever. But it's got a nice range of colors, especially for doing Christmas. We got some nice greens over here. We have a lovely selection of reds and pinks, and this purple is one I particularly like, which I'm not sure if I'm going to use or not. And then they have a wide selection of browns, which for me isn't that important because I don't do a lot of naturey things. Everything we do here is whimsical, and I really like bright colors. But it's nice to have a range, especially if you're going to do skin tones or landscapey things or outdoor stuff. That would require me to go outdoors. Whatever. Okay. So anyway, I like the range of colors, and I like the intensity of the colors. And with Christmas, of course, we love intensity. Okay, let's open the box. It has a very nice, it has basically 2 palettes, and there's 24 colors, which is fantastic. They're a lovely range. And I think, the reason we swatch our colors is you can't always tell from what these are half pans, what they look like in the little pots. So it's essential to swatch your colors. And it's kind of meditative too. I just haven't done it yet. Okay, but I am going to keep this handy because sometimes I'm going to need to look at that. I also have, I meant to clean this from my last video. If you saw the snowman video, I used these paints without a lot of fanfare. But anyway, I'm just going to clean out these little palette bits quickly. And this is how, here's how you clean out your palette. Here, a lesson in cleaning out your palette. Make it wet, wipe it out. It's a two-step process. All right, I also keep paper towel around. Okay, so that's clean enough. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. The first thing you should do with any paints that you use is to have a spray bottle and spray your paints. And that just gets them activated. Now, with watercolor, you kind of have to, you're kind of working the whole thing at the same time, but you want to make sure that if there's things you don't want to bleed into the next color, you kind of have to move on. And so sometimes you have to make some decisions along on the fly, shall we say. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up a really nice, like limey green. And what I like about Christmas colors, now primarily people want to see red and green for Christmas. That's fine. It's traditional. It's fun. You can use usually the red sort of stays the same, but you can use a lot of different greens. The other thing I have is I have a little scrap piece of paper of the same paper that I'm painting on, so I can get a sense of what the color looks like. So I want to make this more yellow. Okay, here's the other thing I have that you can't see. I have 2 jars of paint. One that I intend to keep clean for mixing colors, and then one to swoosh out my brush when I'm moving on to another color. So one gets dirty and one stays clean, allegedly. Okay, so I really want, okay, I'm contaminating that. Don't tell anybody. I want a nice slimy green. I like that. Okay, so here's the other thing about watercolor. These palettes are important. You want to move from your paint pot to the palette to the paper. Going right from the paint pot to your paper can sometimes give you kind of chunky results, or you didn't make, there's not enough paint to spread this where you want it. And so always use that palette. You'll just get used to that. So I am just going in, and I'm going to do 2 different greens on this house. This will be kind of where the sun shines on it. So this side of the house is going to be a bright green. And so we slop over a little bit. That's how you know an artist did it. Okay, there you go. Now, one of the reasons why I keep the paper towel handy is to dab off my brush, and I can go in and suck up some of that paint. It's so funny when I'm teaching in person. Sometimes I just walk by somebody and go, "You need to suck that up," and meaning excess paint, not their feelings and emotions or anything. Okay, so then we're going to come in, and because I have this paint, I'm going to come in and do these kind of little bottle brushy type trees. I'm going to go in and enhance those things later, but right now they're just getting their coat of green. They're coat of mini greens. And then these are intended to look like gumdrops. So those are going to have some bright color. So that one's going to be green. Okay? Fabulous. All right. Now, I don't want to do this side of the house because it's going to bleed into there. So I'm going to move on to something else. Let's, like, where it's not going to touch. So I'm going to come in with the red, and I'll start doing a few little things. Make sure your brush is nice and clean. And I think this is the red, really nice, kind of warm Christmas red. And I will probably do, I like the saturation of these paints. They're really pretty. So I want to put my paint down where I'm not matching up with that green. And let that thing dry, because this is an illustration that you don't want a lot of bleed. Like in the last video I did with the snowman. Oh, I forgot to put the green in between inside that wreath. We'll do that. Sometimes you want things to bleed. There's an intentionality of that, but not in this case. We're not going to have anything bleed together. But we're also not just coloring. We still want this to have some liveliness of, let's see, I can do that, bow. And let's do this tree, or this, yeah, this is a tree. It's also a mint. That's one of the things I love about Christmas designs is that you can do kind of this whimsical, quirky, funny stuff. And people believe it because it's Christmas. We get to suspend belief in reality for a few weeks and just enjoy the goofiness that is Christmas. And I think this is dry enough over here that I'm not gonna, yeah, that green is dry. I'm still being a little tentative right up next to it. But I like doing a variety of more detailed things and a little more loose, whimsical. But this one was fun, to do this fun little Christmas house. You just want to be walking up to that house and seeing what's going on inside. Yeah. This brush, it's a number 8, but it does have a nice tip on it, so I'm happy. So that's really cute. All right, so what else needs to be read here? I'm gonna put, these are little Christmas lights. Now the shutters are gonna be red, so I'm gonna try to, if I put any red lights on, I don't want them to touch the red shutter. We'll do our little red hearts. This is going to be cute, you guys. I'm just saying. Okay, my green is dry enough, so I can come in. I'm going to do some red trim. We'll do our red shutters. You know, I had a really great junior high art teacher. It's amazing what she did for me as a dorky 14-year-old. Now I'm a dorky, much older than 14-year-old. And, but we did a fair amount of watercolor, and she was an amazing watercolor artist. Did line and watercolor, and it's still my first love. But she taught me how to just make the brush do its thing, like use the brush and make a commitment to making those strokes. And I've taken that with me since those dorky years, which frankly, you know, I'm still not out of. And just for fun, and this is why I love watercolor, I'm just going to come in. It's such a small thing, but I'm going to put some little berries on this thing, this branch that this bird is carrying. Just little tiny touches like that can really just be a wonderful thing for your painting. Okay. Now, I'm going to do some, let's see, where should I go from here? Don't you love it when I just decide things on the way? Okay, so I'm going to go to a darker green, like a really dark green. I'm going to consult this, like that. Hooker's green is really quite deep. This has more of a bluey color. They call it emerald. This is Hooker's Green Light. And I'm going to go in and make a little bit of that. Because the one Christmas tree is indoors, I want that to be a little darker. And again, we want to, oh, that is pretty, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to go in and I'm kind of randomly deciding what I'm going to paint. That's way too much paint on there. And I'm kind of leaving those bulbs alone, but that's getting way too tiny. to try to preserve those little dots, but you know, I'm going to anyway. Okay, so I have that dark green, and I'm gonna, let's do the wreath with that green. And I will come back with that lime green and put it in the middle, but you know, not right now. Okay. And I think what we'll do is let's make these look like spearmint. So I'm just going to come around and make these little, they'll look kind of minty, like candy. All right. We're just kind of working around that thing, that spiral. And this is what I mean. We're not just coloring in with the paint. We're using the paint to do a separate job than the line work's doing. This is what's adding the little fun elements to this design. It's so fun to do these things that are just kind of, they're a little bit ditzy, a little bit goofy, but all in all will be super fun when we're finished. Okay. Next, let's get one of these browns. And frankly, I kind of don't care which one. We got your burnt sienna, burnt umber. Let's do burnt umber, which in this I think is here. Yeah, I gotta be better at this. Oops, wrong one. Okay. Test it. Very pretty brown. You know, some of these decisions don't have to be huge. You know, when you're doing a tree branch that is the size of a toothpick, or a, you know, this, what do you call that thing? The trunk of the trunk of the tree. It doesn't have to be like a giant decision. You just go, it's brown. It would be one thing if you're trying to match some specific tree, but we're not. We want that to be brown. Okay, suck up a little excess of that. So, in other words, don't labor over some of this stuff. It's just a thing. And I'm going to go with a little brighter brown for these little pots. It could be kind of a terracotta if you wanted. Just little brown pots, and suck it up. So they're just slightly different than the tree trunks, but not that different. Needs a little marker right there. All right. Cool, cool, cool. We're good. We're good. Okay, now I am going to do, now when you do something that has a lot of detail, sometimes you need a place for the eye to rest. So on the rooftop, I am going to do that in one solid brown. So I think I will go back in and care a little bit more which brown I use. This is a nice warm, it almost looks like chocolate. And who doesn't love chocolate? Yes, that's pretty. And it's different than that. So I'm going to go in and I'm just going to commit to that whole roof being that color. For some reason, I feel really confined in my space today. I'm just going to come and just do a nice, easy wash on that roof. It doesn't have to be a, because I sometimes you do need a place for your eye to rest when there's just tons of stuff going on, and we love our tons of stuff going on. All right, happy with that. That's a pretty color. Let's go back before I forget and fill in that space right there. Okay. There we go. My goodness. All right. That's very cute. And okay, I'm going to pick a third green. And I think I'm going to use what they call emerald. I'm going to use a little pot over here. This should be the... So this is slightly... Yeah, see how that's... I hope the camera picks up that that's a little bluer. So I want a third green in there. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the door with that green. It's a little bluer, just enough to show that there's a difference. And I'm going to use it on here and on here. It's just kind of more of a bluish teal which is really pretty. Okay. And I'm also going to use it, let's do this, I got to move that out of the way a little bit. Let's use it as the shadowy color on the bird. So we're just going to come in and just do the edge of that bird and the edge of the wings. There. Again, a really tiny detail, but you know, in the big scheme of things, it just adds something to that. That's really pretty, and I will go into those leaves as well. Okay, we're making tracks, people. All right, now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do the second part of the house. So I want a green that is in that same family, but darker. So I'm gonna start with what I have here. And let's add a little bit more of what they call sap green. And then I'm going to add a titch of the hooker's green. We just want to make it different enough. So this was our house. We want this to be the second part of the house. Yes, I like that. And it's different than these two greens. Yeah, you gotta, sometimes you just gotta play around with that. Okay. So I'm going to go behind the lights. And just keep moving along. And I will be coming back to tidy up some of those blobs. But that's just, the green is just different enough than the front of the house. So it makes it look like, even though we have this weird perspective on this house, which is, I like that, to draw a house like that, where you're seeing the side and the front at the same time. It's kind of a folk arty way to do a house, which I love. I really do love folk art. Okay. This is getting really, really cute. Okay, let's look at our little snowman, shall we? And he should have, because again, I want enough difference going on. The color we don't have anywhere here, we will, but let's do a nice clear blue. So I'm going to use, what is this one? This is Cerulean. I mean, again, we're making really tiny decisions because we're doing one thing here. We're doing the little scarf on our snowman. It doesn't have to be an earth-shattering decision. There we go. Cute. And I think I need to go back with the red because I need a red bow on the wreath. So far I haven't been using my tiny brush, but I think I will be soon as I get into more detail. And then let's put a red hatband on him. All right, red hatband. Sometimes, and you know, I've designed a lot of Christmas over the years, and after a while you're like, oh my gosh, I need more than red and green. Okay, what do we got going here? Okay, still have green out here. Let's do something fun on these front trees. And I'm going to use this, what they call emerald. I want to know that that's going to be different enough. This is why we play around, so we know that we've got the right kind of color. So I'm just going to come in and do like a whoop, 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 whoop. And, you know, sound effects, very important. Just to make them a little more interesting. Where was that? Whoop, 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 whoop. It doesn't do much, but it does something. So they're just not a solid mass sitting there. Okay. We're getting cute. All right. I need to clean out. Actually, I'm going to use the palette over here. That's what I like about this paint box is we have our 2 palettes. It's a little weird that this one's sort of bendy, but we'll deal. Because we're doing really small amounts of paint for this kind of painting. So I'm going to go in, let's grab that cerulean again. I think I'm out of camera range. And let's just add one of these gumdrops, be that blue. Okay. And I'm going to do gumdrops now. And then because I love that magenta so much, we're going to come in. It's, what do they call it? Purple Lake. Here, we'll do it up here so you can actually see it. And it really is. Oh, what is it about that color that I love so much? And we'll come in and do 2 of those. It's kind of, you could use a hot pink there, a brighter pink, but I like that magenta. Okay, that's very sweet. And let's use that color for the curtains around the cat or the dog. Remember in the tracing, there will be a dog version, and you can paint your dog any color you want. Make it look like your dog or somebody else's dog that you love. And I forgot a little. Okay, so that's a little tiny. I should be using the small brush by now, but am I? I'm not. All right. The other thing we want to do is we want to make his hat black. So we're going to get a little black going. And come in and make that black. I mean, this is starting to be so cute. I have to find another word for cute. So whimsical. All right. We're loving that. We are loving that. Okay, I'm going in with a small brush now. Back to my number 4. And we're going to do a yellow. Because there's several things that need to be yellow. And there's small bits and bobs here. Okay, so the bill on the beak on the bird. We're going to let's do the last 2 gumdrops in yellow. And we will do our flames and the bases of the candles. Of course, the star on the top of the tree. Yeah, good choice, Ronnie, to move to a tiny brush or smaller brush. And I suppose some of these lights should be yellow. Yeah, I forgot I could use let's get some of that, since I have it out, this Purple Lake. Let's make that a couple of those. And then that cerulean too, we can use for the lights. These micro decisions. Let's go back to that purple. Let that light be purple and this light be purple. Okay, we're honing in on this thing. Okay, I'm going to do my little kitty. And since I have that black out, I'm just going to make it, just have the gray mask there. That reads very kitty-like. Looks like a tuxedo cat in the window. My favorite kind of kitty. And small details. Let's go back to that Hooker's Green and we'll do that edge. And you know, here's where you can start to play around. I'm going to go in and I'm just going to stripe these because it's a Christmas house. That's cute. And then let's put some green baubles on this. I mean, I don't really know what they are, but it's a cute pattern. Where is it? Sometimes you have to remember, like, oh, which color is that? Alrighty then. Yeah. I don't know what this is. But it's cute. And cute is what we're after. Okay, we're going to do one final thing. And that is we're going to add some shadowing and some color inside the windows. So I'm going to go back to my bigger brush because I want to be able to get a good bit of blue going. And let's use the cobalt. And let's grab our, I want to make sure it's got enough presence, but not too heavy. So a little tiny bit more water. Okay, dab off your brush, and I'm going to go in and do the windows. And so it'll sort of indicate that it's darker in the house, but with these glowing lights. So all of the windows are going to get this blue treatment. And we're going to leave the candles white, because remember, white is a color. And in watercolor, we leave the paper to do the job of being white. And sometimes, again, you want to leave the white because it lets you rest. Otherwise, it becomes such a solid mass. And we'll put some under the, and get that little blind going there. Okay, suck up a little extra here. Okay, now it's time to do some shadowing. So I'm going to put just a really small blue line right on that roof line on the edge. It kind of gives you some shadowy indicator. It's kind of a weird thing because, you know, I said that the light's hitting this way, but in fact, let's do the whole thing that blue. I don't love that, but it's done. So I love that. Okay, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to put a little bit of that shadow under these, at the edges of these trees, so that they look a little more dimensional, and come back with some red after that blue dries. And then I'm just going to put a little shadow on the edge of the white. I'm not being super literal about this. Put a little circle under these trees, a little bit under the pots, so they look like they're landing on something. And then I'm going to come in and do a little bit under the snowman. Okay. And then all of a sudden it reads more as snow than it did before. I think we're getting there on this. Okay, that dried really fast. No, don't do that. So now I'm going to come in and reactivate the red that I had on those peppermint trees. And I'm going to come in just where I did that shadow in the blue and put a little bit of that red underneath. And once I suck that up, you'll be able to see that they just look like candies as opposed to just stripy things. All right, I'm pretty much loving this. Oh, we want to put some green on our leaf that or the branch that the dove is holding. So I'm just going to come in with that bright green again. Make sure I don't drag my hand through paint. I often do. I'm kind of a bull in a china shop painter, but it also tends to work out in the end. All right, Okay, if you have enjoyed this video, how about if you like it? Wouldn't that be great for you to like this? Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is kind of put a little shadow under here on that roof line. That gives a little more dimension. And you know, while we're at it, let's get some of that darker green going, and we're going to put that right under this roof line. Anyway, as I was saying, if you like this video, if you could hit the like button, just boop that thing, that would be awesome. You guys are so amazing. And I love your comments. I love that you guys are finding this to be satisfying and soothing. That's my whole gig. I just want everybody to be happy. Okay, I'm calling this finished. Swoosh out my brush, take my paint away, and I'm just going to tell you, I am so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you have chosen to spend time with me. That means the world to me. And I am glad that you have embraced creativity, embraced finding a way that soothes your soul and makes you happy and makes other people happy. That is big. That is huge. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much for all of your kind comments. And I wish you all the best today and every single day. So take care and be brave and draw a picture. Bye.